Mr. Millen.
Good morning, Your Honor. We are here in case 24 CR 1325, State of Ohio versus Harold W. Jordan. Present in court is the defendant, who is accompanied by his attorney, Mr. Fernando Mack. We were previously here on April 16th, 2025. At that time, the defendant withdrew his previously entered plea of not guilty and entered a plea of guilty to a lesser included offense of count 2, attempted felonious assault, a felony of the 3rd degree. This matter was referred to the Lake County Adult Probation Department for a pre-sentence investigation report, as well as a drug and alcohol evaluation and an victim impact statement. Those reports have been completed. A victim impact statement has been submitted. The state has had the opportunity to review the reports and is ready to proceed with sentencing. There is 1 day of jail time credit, and the state would move to dismiss the remaining counts of the indictment. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Mack.
Judge, on behalf of my client, I would like to offer you mitigation. I know that you've received my sentencing memorandum, but I do want to say that Harold is 39 years old. He has accepted responsibility by way of plea and did not cause this case to go to trial. And I think in my conversations with him, he's genuinely remorseful. There's nothing that I'm going to say here that will offer as an excuse, but I think the court is very aware that bar settings are not good to begin with, especially late at night. And everyone's drinking. In his case, too much to drink. That, along with his poor decision-making, set this course of conduct. And I will say that when this altercation began, he really tried to serve as peacekeeper when the first altercation began. And once it got to the second bar, where the bottle incident occurred, I think he lost his way. He allowed his emotions to get the best of him. He knows that there are no excuses, even if there's an unpleasant exchange. And he understands now that even though he doesn't have an alcohol problem, he's not someone who drinks every day. When he does drink, he doesn't do so well, especially under these circumstances. And I think part of the lesson is that alcohol is not that important. Stay out of these environments. Don't have these kinds of interactions. Judge, he's been the supervisor at UPS for almost 20 years now. And I mean, he's worked there for almost 20 years, but he's served in supervisory capacity over the last several years. And he's got strong family support. Judge, if it pleases the court, may I approach? I just received one more letter from his 90-year-old grandmother who wanted you to be able to read her words.
Okay.
And know what she has to say about it. Harold's parents are here. They've been very plugged in. They offer great support to try to help get him through this. I've asked the court to consider everything that I filed and hear what Harold has to say, and I'm respectfully asking the court to consider community control.
All right, thank you. Mr. Jordan, what do you want to tell me?
First of all, I just want to say this is unfortunate incident that I didn't mean for it to happen. That was not my intentions when everything transpired. To the young lady, Ms. Reed, I'm sorry that this has happened to you. That was never my intention from the bottom of my heart. I never meant to inflict no pain on you. And I don't want this to have a negative impact on how you view men, especially black men, because that's not how I was raised by my parents. I come from a strong family, as Mr. Mack has said. I'm a very hard worker. I'm a leader in my everyday life. And it was just a bad night for me. I wish we'd have got to a place where we could talk, where we could have got some better understanding. But like I said, a lot of things transpired. Like he said, I'm not the best person when I drink, and under the wrong circumstances, it just escalated. But from the bottom of my heart, I never meant to hurt you, never meant to inflict no pain. And just to the court, I'm not a violent person. I don't make the best decisions, but my heart is very pure. I'm a genuine person, and I just want to apologize to my parents too, because they've been going through a lot through this ordeal. And I'm just asking for mercy, Judge. Just please just see that I am a good person. I just happened to make a mistake that night.
So as I read through this pre-sentence report, and I talked to Mr. Mack and Ms. Himmeline, Mr. Clement, before I came in. I was unclear as to exactly what happened at 1899. So tell me what happened at that bar.
Basically, the victim, we were all at a bar earlier, Frank and Tony's, which I happen to go down there every Wednesday. Me and my UPS friends, we happen to go drink some beers and eat food. And it was altercation there, or a verbal spat. Her and a friend that I was with down there that I usually meet down there, they had gotten into it. And from that point, I tried to stop it from even escalating anything further. So we left the bar. We ended up going to 1899.
Who went to 1899?
Me and the guy that the confrontation started with.
This Mike guy?
Yes.
How did you know that guy?
Like I said, he's a frequent. He frequent the bar Frank and Tony's that me and my UPS friends go to. So he's just a person that we see in passing, and we form a natural bond through that. He'll buy me drinks, and I'll buy him drinks.
Okay, so you go down to the other place, and what happens?
We basically go down to the other place, and I have a beer down there, and I don't know at what point, at whatever point, I end up seeing the victim, and I don't know if she had like 3 or 4 friends with her, but they end up approaching Mike in the corner, and for what it looked like to me, it looked like it was going to be like I don't know, some type of interaction, and I just tried to get in front of it and tried to deter it, but for whatever reason, it just escalated to the point to where me and Miss Reed had got into a verbal spat.
And how much had you had to drink altogether at that
Altogether, I would say I had a beer at Frank and Tony's before the incident happened. Then when we got at 1899, I had another beer, so maybe 2 beers. 2.5 beers.
Well, you got to Frank and Tony's like around 11:45-ish, right?
Yes,
Something
sir.
like that. So you weren't under the influence, were you, at that point? If you only had 2.5 beers and two.
I might have had
2.5
a shot at Frank and Tony's.
Right.
I mean, when I say beer, I mean they serve these things called wontons. So it's like maybe 2.5, 3 beers all put together. It's in a big cup.
Okay, that's
so I
different.
had one of those.
All right. So were you under the influence when this happened?
Yes,
Okay.
I would say.
All right.
I wasn't in my right state of mind. I would say that.
Well, you weren't in your right state of mind because of the alcohol, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So looking back, you had this felonious in 07.
Yes, sir.
What was that one all about?
That was between me and the mother of my child back then. Basically, she had me and she had another guy on the side, and basically the guy would make threats towards me, and we'll be talking on the phone. So on such a particular day, I happened to go over there, and he was there, and he said he was going to bring some people over there to, gang up on me, and I happened to have a firearm in my possession in the car, and I just ended up shooting a gun up in the air.
So how do you, going forward, prevent this or anything like this, and like the last one, from happening? Yeah.
Well, since then, I went to treatment. I go to AA. Me and my father, he take me to AA. It's called Short and Sweet. I talk with, like I said, older people about my problems. I think back then I was a little bit embarrassed to talk about the problems that I might have, just because I didn't want to seem weak or humiliated. But I know now, talking, it's like, decompression for me. And so I feel like just me talking about the problems that might weigh on me is a great deterrent from me not doing the things I used to do. I don't drink no more. I don't smoke no more. I go to work. Like I said, I'm very active as far as just trying to stay busy, trying to stay working, and just, trying to be a better person.
What do you do at work?
I'm a supervisor, so basically I'm in charge of about 6, 7 people. They load the package truck, not the large 18-wheeler trucks, and they get out for delivery. It's my job to make sure that don't nobody get hurt on my job, and that the trucks get out for delivery on time.
All right, and so you work generally 3 to 11 or 3 to 10?
I mean, it varies because of the volume, but yeah, that's my schedule.
Okay. And how many, roughly how many trucks get loaded during the course of that shift?
I say about 4 on a good night, but it's been times where it can be like 5 or 6, depending on the volume. Like I said, around Christmas time, I haven't left that. I could leave that place at like 3 or 4 in the morning. Just because that's my job. I feel like that's my purpose. I'm very dedicated to seeing the job. Once I start something, I try to see it through, and I don't like cutting no corners or anything like that. So I'm one of those guys that I'm very dependable. People can depend on me to be there to get the job done.
When you hit her with the bottle, you ran from the bar.
Yes, sir.
Why did you do that?
Adrenaline. I was embarrassed. It's like I said, that's very uncharacteristic of me. I'm not a violent person. I'm not somebody that likes violence. I don't try to use violence. It was a shock to me, and I was in disbelief that I was able to bring myself to do something like that. I was very, I want to say, I'm not traumatized, but yeah, traumatized in the same sense. Like it all happened so fast, and I couldn't believe that I was the person that did that. So then once I seen her, it was just like reality hit me. Like, what did you just do? Like, did you really, to a female at that? Like, it was just wrong on all counts, sir. And like I said, I'm very apologetic. I did not mean for that to happen.
I mean, that should scare the living shit out of you, right?
Yes, sir.
The fact that you
Yes, it does.
hit somebody, because those bottles down at the bottom are pretty solid.
Yes, sir.
I mean, that should make you think about where you're at and what you were capable of, okay? Because you were capable of doing it because you did it, right?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
So, if I'm you, and maybe you are, I'm re-examining, what the hell's going on in my head. That you got to that point that happened. Okay? And whatever happened right prior to that wasn't anywhere near as serious as what you did, right?
Correct.
Okay, I mean, so that, if that don't wake you up, nothing will.
Your Honor, like I said, that was not my intention. Like I said, once it happened, it was just, I'm embarrassed. Like I said, I never meant to cause that type of pain or suffering to nobody, because I know I wouldn't want that done to me. And you're right. Since this didn't happen, I've reevaluated how I look at everything, how I approach everything, and I do recognize that I do have a problem, and I do want to get it correct. I do want to fix it, and I just try to take one day at a time. I know that I'm not perfect, but I know at the same time.
Nobody is.
Yeah, and I know I wasn't raised like that, and I know that hopefully, in due time that she will forgive me for doing that. But I wish that I would just had the ability or the wherewithal just to walk away, just not even let it escalate to that point. And I'm truly sorry. I can't say that enough.
Okay, anything else you want to say?
No, I just hope that you have mercy on me and just recognize that I'm trying to do better, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Ms. Himmelheim?
Thank you, Your Honor. The victim, Natasha Reed, would like to make a statement to the court.
Okay, Ms. Reed, tell me whatever you want me to consider.
Morning, Your Honor. I was sort of basing my decision based on feelings. I don't know Mr. Jordan personally. I don't know if he's a good guy, bad guy, anything like that. Me personally, you know, I have to look at my scars every single day. My kids had to see me that next morning. I had to take them to school, and they were heartbroken. It's hard because for months, and there's still times that I feel so ugly. I look at these scars and I'm like, I feel like people are staring at them. I know they're there every day. You know, it's just one of those unfortunate situations that happen, and I have to be reminded physically, and he has to be reminded mentally. So Harold and I we're the same age. He has a child, I have children. I sympathize with him because I understand how bars sometimes get out of hand, especially bars like that. I just, however you see sentencing fit, but I also wish upon Harold to do better in the future, to teach his son to not put himself in situations like that. So this is like a learning experience for everybody. I know I personally don't always feel comfortable in bar settings. You know, I look at everybody's face now. I don't have my back to the door. If I feel uncomfortable, I leave immediately. I just hope that this changes his path. I have a really good sense of energy from people, and I really don't get a bad vibe from him at all, even knowing him or not. I believe him when he said he was sorry, and it was just, it was an accident in a sense. He didn't mean to do it. So I do feel he should be held accountable for what he did. But I just hope that this will teach him to do better from now on, I think. So,
All right, thank you.
thank you.
Your Honor, this is a case where the defendant engaged in an act of violence that was disproportionate to the situation at hand. And as a result, the victim, Natasha Reed, suffered serious physical harm. As was demonstrated in the state's sentencing exhibits that were provided to the court, she did suffer serious injuries, a probable nose fracture, and permanent scarring. In addition to the physical injuries, as she's just told you, she suffered embarrassment and she suffers emotional injuries. It changed her as a person. And she also suffered financial injuries as well from having to go to the emergency room, and she'll have ongoing financial harm from correcting the scars that she does have. For these reasons, the state does recommend that the court impose a sanction of community control sanctions with local jail time and restitution to the victim. Thank you, Your Honor.
What days of the week do you work?
I work Monday through Friday, and I work a Sunday job also.
Where's that?
It's a cleaning company. It's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. So I have 2 jobs.
Okay. All right, I've reviewed the pre-sentence report, the drug and alcohol evaluation. I reviewed the sentencing memorandum submitted by Mr. Mack. And I reviewed the letter from Ida Rawls that was just given to me at the start of this hearing, as well as the 2 photographs that Ms. Himmeline gave me of Ms. Reed's injuries. Consider what Mr. Jordan has said, what Ms. Reed has said, what counsel has said. And I have also considered all the provisions in 29, 29, 11, 12, and 13. So this, you have said today, and Ms. Reed has said today, that what you did with hitting her with the bottle was not intentional, so it was, I guess, impulsive is what it was. Impulsivity clouded by alcohol, one horrible combination. Okay, so that's what needs to be addressed. The injury, those pictures look pretty brutal. That big lump on the head, on the forehead, as well as that cut on the nose, looks absolutely brutal. And as Ms. Reed graciously said here today, that her wish is for you to change, to be held accountable, but to change your course. So nothing like this happens, and the lesson be passed on to your son about this. Okay. So I'm going to find that you are amenable to community control. I'm going to place you on community control for a period of 4 years. You're going to serve 90 days in the jail with credit for 1. You're going to have no drugs or alcohol, and you'll be screened. You're going to get a mental health evaluation and follow the recommendations. You're going to partake in the Decision Points program through the probation department and follow all recommendations. Attend at least 3 AA meetings a week and obtain a sponsor. You're going to pay restitution to Ms. Reed in the amount of $9,281, which, as I understand it from our discussions, may be subject to change depending on further treatment. And you'll pay the cost and supervision fees. Now, I'm going to grant you a work release during this period of jail. But what I need from you through Mr. Mack is a definite schedule, so I can set the parameters of when you get out. So I'm going to have you begin this jail sentence on Monday the 19th. So you need to get me a schedule so I can set the time. So how soon will you have that schedule to Mr. Mack so I can get it?
I can tell him today.
Okay. And get it to me right away so I can set the parameters on this thing.
Yeah, sure.
And once I set the parameters on that, you'll have the time to report on Monday to the jail. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Clement, any other terms you think are applicable?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right. Mr. Jordan, do you understand all the terms?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Do you have any question about any of the terms?
No, sir, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, if you, and the other thing I want you to do is, when you, the first meeting you have with your probation officer, who's going to be who, Dave or Jamie?
So maybe.
You? Okay. Is the first time you meet with Mr. Clements, I want you to figure out a schedule, to provide him a schedule of how you're going to pay this restitution, when you're going to pay it, and how often okay, which I mean monthly, and how much,
Okay.
so that you keep up with that schedule. If you don't comply with the terms, then the state will file a motion to terminate your community control, and if I find you violated, you face 36 months in prison. You understand that?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
So there's a lot at stake for you, and for your family, and so you're how old are you now?
39, Your Honor.
Okay, so you got a long way to go if you do the right thing, if you live the right way. Is there anything else, Ms. Himmeline?
A couple things, Your Honor. No contact with the victim.
Yeah, no contact with Ms. Reed, sorry.
Balance of the indictment dismissed.
Yeah, the remaining charges are dismissed. I would tell you to stay out of Frank and Tony's in 1899 and any other bar in downtown Willoughby and anywhere else, but, you know, that's something that hopefully you figured out for yourself. Anything else, Mr. Mack?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, we're adjourned.